we're now being joined by Jonathan Wathel, former Director of Communications and Senior Policy Advisor at the U.S. Mission to the United Nations. Thank you so much for joining us on the show, sir.
Pleasure.
Right, so these are unprecedented times. UN Chief Antonio Guterres has clearly warned against a spillover of the Israel-Hamas conflict. I want to seek your assessment as to how imminent is the threat of a regional conflagration.
I think we're already there, aren't we? We already see the action between Israel as it tries to eliminate the Hamas militants who created such a horrific atrocities in Israel, including the murder of children and burning of people alive. The visuals have been outrageous and just confounding to humanity, just terrible, like ISIS. And then, of course, there is concern for the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip who, are going to become collateral damage as Israel tries to take out these Hamas fighters and stop the rocket fire and enact revenge and an end to the danger that's posed by Hamas. And then the international nature of this is we're already seeing Hezbollah rocket exchanges with the Israelis across the blue line up along the Lebanese border between Israel and Lebanon. So we're already kind of in that place, and things can spiral into more of a regional conflict easily.
So the Israeli military has said that it has amassed military troops near the borders with Gaza, Israel pounding Gaza with airstrikes. How imminent is the threat of a ground incursion? And also, as you mentioned as well, how would Israeli forces discern between Hamas militants and innocent civilians?
A ground invasion is anticipated given the massing of troops and given what the set goals of the Israeli Defense Forces have been. And, they're fully backed by the Israeli public that is completely freaked out by what has transpired and feels extremely vulnerable and really has had enough of having a neighbor that, through the Oslo Accords and the invitation of Yasser Arafat and his men from Tunis to take over leadership roles in that strip and in the West Bank and to try to work toward peace, instead ended up in a nightmare scenario in which the leadership of that strip is run by militants with a charter that explicitly calls for the destruction of Israel. So it's a zero-sum game that the parties are in right now, and now it's escalated to a level that it isn't just something of tit for tat and containment. This is the most serious of all confrontations between Israel and Hamas.
Absolutely, sir. I mean, the humanitarian cost of the war between Israel and Hamas is rising. The death toll is rising on both the sides of the war. And during a roundtable with leaders from the U.S. Jewish community, U.S. President Joe Biden mentioned seeing the confirmed pictures of terrorists beheading children. While on the other hand, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is also slated to reach Israel today. How do you assess the United States' involvement in the conflict?
Well, there's direct involvement of the United States in that there are American citizens who have died at the hands of Hamas and are being held hostage by Hamas. Also American involvement because obviously Israel is a very close ally of the United States. There's tremendous concern about Iranian participation in this, whether it's simply to the level, and simple is not said in that context of a simple thing, but limited to providing military and training and equipment to be able to pull off this stunning surprise attack on Israel, taking out all of the communications infrastructure and monitoring along the border, and then plowing through the fence and then causing these massacres across southern Israel. But there's a wider concern about, what happens here with Iran and its support of Hezbollah and its much stronger militant group in terms of sheer numbers and the weaponry that they possess in the tens of thousands of rockets and precision-guided Iranian missiles that are in their arsenal, and the possibility of a conflagration opening up at that border that would then have a response from Israel that would cause death and destruction on both sides, well beyond probably what we've seen already between the Gaza Strip and Israel.
So thank you so much for joining us on WION with your insights on this.
Pleasure.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.